What's the strangest thing you've ever been caught doing? As a pet sitter, sometimes you get lonely when the majority of your interactions are with animals. So, to combat this, I sometimes pretend to be the inner voice of whatever dog I'm walking, responding out loud to whatever they're sniffing or whatever grabs their attention. Each dog has her own weird voice as well. More than once people have walked around a corner to hear me doing this. I was in standstill traffic, i.e. car had been turned off. People were loitering outside of their cars. And I had a baby squirrel that I was hand rearing in my car. I fed it some puppy milk formula from a bottle. Looked up and realized I had an audience of about 20 people gawking at me. Running in on all fours up the stairs in underwear. Didn't realize my best friend had already come over. And I ran into him at dick level. Oh man. So I must have been about 12. I was in the car with my mom. To set the scene, it was a 3-row soccer mom van and I was in the second row behind the passenger seat with my mom driving. Well, since I was 12 I got my random hormone boner. Strange and awkward enough, right? Well, I decided that I would pretend I was driving and that my boner was the stick shift. Mom caught me. Edit. A story about me playing with my boner is now my highest liked comment. Naturally. When I was around 10 years old I was getting curious about sex, so I decided to look it up in the dictionary. Wouldn't you know it, my ultra conservative mother walks in the room, so I try to play it off like I was looking up the heathen Native American tribe. She called me out for being in the S's, but I doubled down and pretended I was possibly dyslexic. What a tangled web I wove. Popping my friend's back by picking him up from behind and bouncing him repeatedly. A teacher walked into the room and we all froze. I once saw an old bloke slowly walk near a tree, have his hat pushed off by one of the low-hanging branches, then proceed to slowly pick up the hat, declare I avenge myself in a neutral tone, and then break a twig off the tree before slowly walking off. This isn't me, but this story is so weird. My grandma was once caught by a UPS delivery guy in the process of biting her toenails. She was in the sunroom with the screen door open, and the guy walked up to the door and witnessed that. R.I.P. Granny, you weirdo. Had a co-worker that was working at a customer site. He had a creepy little crush on one of the women that worked there, but it was apparently innocent enough that no one really cared. Until one day the woman came back from lunch and saw him pick up the cushion from her chair and sniff it. He was asked to leave. Arguing with myself, well, not myself, the actual person just wasn't there. So I was standing in the mirror, with animated facial expressions and gestures, lips moving, but with no sound. I now reserve these hypothetical arguments for the shower, when I am home alone. 1. I was like 13 or 14 in my room alone, my window wide opened. When I started to wonder if I ever got kissed, what the other person would be seeing from their perspective. So I went up to my closet, which had those floor-length mirrors, and I started kissing the mirror, opening my eyes every once in a while to see if I looked at all attractive doing this. One of those times I opened my eyes, I saw my brother outside my wide open window through the mirror, looking at me with such a confused look on his face. I screamed and fell to the floor and hid in my room for a while. And amp. X200B. 2. I was a kid and creeped out by cousin's creepy doll. One morning me and the doll were alone in her room and I grabbed the doll and started to shake it. And while I was yelling at it that I knew it could talk, my cousin walked in and was like, "What are you doing?" And I brought the doll close to me and caressed it and said I was just kidding. She kept the doll away from me after that. In 3rd grade, I went to the bathroom, and thinking I was alone, put my hands against the wall, leaned forward, and let out a long gigantic fart. Afterwards I let out a nice big sigh of relief and pleasure. I turn around that some other kids had come in as I was releasing that massive fart. Did not look them in the eyes as I left. Edit. Just to clarify due to comments, it's not the fart that was strange. No matter how long it may have been, It's the hands against the wall, prepping my body to let it rip, and moaning ooh ooh ung afterward. I was playing VR chat with a skeleton skin on and I kept doing stupid dances that may or may not have involved a jerk off motion. I heard my wife's voice from outside the headset go, "What the duck?" Walking across the road to the dumpster with a bag of trash, one arm pulled into my hoodie, flapping it like a wing, and slowly moving forward while going in circles, saying to myself, "Flying in circles, flying in circles." Realizing that I was not circling in the right direction for the wing I had and reversing to circle opposite-wise, saying "flying in circles" the wrong way. Come back inside and find that my whole family had been watching me. Sort of absent-mindedly blowing on a kettle to cool it down before pouring the water over the coffee. My wife thought that was pretty funny. I was once caught by an ex-girlfriend playing her cat like a banjo. I had both Slushy's front paws in my hand and was strumming on his tummy. The cat was purring so loud it made her come in to see what was going on. It was a long awkward pause followed by "Are you playing my cat?" Edit. This is my most rated comments to date and I honestly couldn't be happier. Also thanks for the gold kind stranger. In college, in lab, was coding to get double linked list to work. When my program worked, I hugged the monitor and kissed it. It's CRT monitor, so yeah, I'm old. Right at that moment janitor guy walks in and sees it all and has this puzzled look. I picked up a pizza, was super excited to eat it. So I put it in the passenger seat and said something along the lines of "I'm gonna take you home and duck you up," hyping myself and the pizza up of course. I then saw that my window and the window of the next car was open. A woman watched and heard me talk dirty to a pizza. Another time I accidentally made eye contact with a woman while I was licking my lips after taking a sip of an Arizona tea, and she looked extremely offended by that. That was all in her head though. I'm still in denial. I was 14 getting it on with my hand and surround sound headphones. My dad walks in on me half asleep and mumbles, "What are you doing boy?" and shuts the door. But then comes back in to verify what he's witnessed and has the audacity to say, "You playing with your meat?" Sitting on the floor of my kitchen with the lights turned off while making mac and cheese. It doesn't help that the roommate who caught me is the one who would always find me sitting on the floor eating animal crackers or cereal out of the box. When I was about 14 I started to cum a lot, and so whenever I jacked off, I had to come up with something that would make it easier for me to cover the tracks, if you know what I am saying. So I started wrapping my dick with toilet paper. It looked like a mummy but it did the trick. A mummy dick. So one time, I am in the zone in my toilet, jacking it, watching some adult content on my PSP, and all of a sudden my mom comes in and hands me the phone. Apparently my friend couldn't find a better time to call me. So 10 years later I still remember the look on my mama's face when she saw me with my PSP in left hand and a mummy dick in the right one. Edit. Thanks for all the upvotes and discussions. Ladies and gents. Had a ton of laugh reading haha. I once dropped a full liter of milk on the kitchen island and it made me give up and just lay down below the milk waterfall that was created and just drink it. This happened at 3 AM and mother witnessed it as she was also awake and thirsty. Edit. I just noticed this can really get out of context. One time my then girlfriend's mom caught me pissing in her kitchen sink when I was bombed out on Ambien. I had no recollection of it the next morning. Dancing enthusiastically to Missy Elliott's Lose Control. That was playing in my head. I can't dance. Husband thought I was having convulsions. Yep. Having an argument with my houseplants about their watering schedules. They had their own voices too. When I was 15 or so, my mom used to babysit the neighbor's toddler. He was potty trained but sometimes reverted back to peeing on the floor. His parents had instructed my mom if he does it he goes to timeout and is not allowed TV the rest of night. I was watching a movie and the kids started bugging out wanting to watch Elmo or some shit. My mom told me to give up the TV. So I went into the kitchen and peed on the floor. Then went downstairs and waited. My mom came downstairs not long after and demanded answers, as apparently it was just an unreasonable amount of urine to come from a baby. I ended up copping to all crimes. Shit was weird for a little while. Me. Newlywed to my then husband. Had to leave our apartment and move in with his somewhat disabled mother. 2 weeks in, he and I are having sexy times in our bedroom. Specifically, he's going downtown and eating at the Y. Mill knocks and immediately opens the door, saying dinner's on the table. Awkward pause. Everyone freezes. His face is buried in my crotch. She stands shocked still, then huffs, and says, "Well, I see you've already eaten." Slams the door and goes away. We giggle, recoup, and go to eat. Most awkward meal of my life. When I was going through puberty, I started getting a lot of hair on my ass, which I hated. So I started shaving my ass. Once my older brother decided to try and throw a cup of cold water on me in the shower. He rips open THR curtain to me slightly bent over with shaving cream on my ass and a razor in my hand. He stops for a second, throws the cup anyway, then proceeds to laugh uncontrollably and tell everyone in the house what he caught me doing.